So good afternoon to everybody. So today's class is enzymes. Enzymes, what are the enzymes? Enzymes are the biocatalysts. See the definition for the enzyme. Enzyme is a substance that increases the velocity or rate of chemical reaction without itself undergo any changes in the overall process. So enzyme cannot undergo any changes in the overall process, but it is increase the velocity or rate of chemical reaction. So some enzymes shows some properties. What are the properties? See here is. So enzymes are synthesized by the living cells. They are protein in nature. If they see the structure, they collide in structure. The thermolabile character means is heat stable. Enzymes are heat stable, and action is a specific in action. And enzymes containing the 16% weight as a nitrogen. So enzymes contain 16% of the weight as a nitrogen. They are water soluble. Don't forget, these are water soluble. Enzymes are water soluble. So enzymes are divided into two categories, that is intracellular enzymes and extracellular enzymes. Intracellular enzymes, they are functional within the cells. The enzymes functions within the cells where they are synthesized. Extracellular enzymes, these enzymes are active outside the cell. Example is digestive enzymes. So digestive enzymes are more active outside the cell. Classification of the enzymes. As per IUB, International Units of Biochemistry, so the classification is classified into 6 categories. That is oxidoreductase, transferases, hydrolases, ligases, isomerases, and ligases. You can remember easily O, T, H, L, I, L. That is O means is oxidoreductase, T means is transferases, and H means is hydrolases, L means ligases, I means is isomerases, L means ligases. The fourth one is liases and sixth one is ligases. So the classification is O, T, H, L, I, L. The first L is ligases and last L is ligases. See the individual enzymes classification. Oxidoreductase. These oxidoreductase enzymes are involved in oxidation and reduction reactions. The example is alcohol dehydrogenase, cytochrome oxidase, pyruvate dehydrogenase. These are the enzymes involved in the oxidation reduction reactions. For example, pyruvate dehydrogenase is which catalyzes the oxidation of pyruvate to acetate coenzyme A. Acetate coenzyme A. The next one is transferases. T means is transferases. So these enzymes, that is exokinase, transaminases, transmethylase, and phosphorylases. These enzymes are involved in the transfer of functional groups. Transfer of functional groups. The name itself is meaning transferases. Transfer something, that is the group. So here it is that these enzymes are transfer the functional group. See here it is transaminase, which transfers an amino group from one molecule to another molecule. One molecule to another molecule. Now next, hydrolases. So lipase, cholinesterase, pepsin, urease. These are enzymes hydrolysis of the various compounds. They catalyze the hydrolysis of a bond. The enzyme, example, pepsin hydrolyzes the peptide bonds. So hydrolases especially involved in the hydrolysis of bonds. The example is pepsin hydrolyzes the peptide bonds in proteins. See the liases. The main function of the liases, example here it is aldolases, fumarases, and histidase. So these are the enzymes involved in the addition or removal of water, ammonia, and carbon dioxide, etc. So it is involved addition or removal. For example, aldose. Aldose catalyze the splitting of fructose 1,6-biphosphate to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and dihydroxyhistone phosphate. So aldose involved in the or catalyzing the fructose 1,5-phosphate splitting to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and dihydroxyhistone phosphate. Now see the isomerases. So triose phosphate isomerase, retinol isomerase, and phosphoxase isomerase. These are the examples for the isomerases. These are especially involved in the isomerization reactions. Next one is ligases. So DNA ligases, acetyl-CoA carboxylase, succinate thiokinase. These are the examples for the ligases. Especially these ligases catalyze the joining of two molecules. Involved in the joining of two molecules. For example, DNA ligase catalyze the joining of two fragments of DNA. Joining of two fragments of DNA by forming a phosphodiester bonds. Now see the chemical nature and properties of the enzymes. Each enzyme has its own tertiary structure and specific conformation, which is very essential for its catalytic activity. Here it is, enzyme catalytic activity mainly depends upon the tertiary structure and specific conformation. These are essential for the enzyme's catalytic activity. Enzymes having some functional unit. This is known as a holoenzyme. This holoenzyme is made up of apoenzyme and coenzyme. This apoenzyme is a protein part, coenzyme is a non-protein part. So holoenzyme containing the apoenzyme and coenzyme. So that means is a protein for holoenzyme contain the protein part and non-protein part. So protein part is apoenzyme and coenzyme is a non-protein part. Without the cofactor attached to the protein is not active. So without cofactor. So without the cofactor attached to the protein is not active. So here it is a holoenzyme is an active enzyme. So holoenzyme is an active enzyme. So it is combined with the apoenzyme plus coenzyme considered called the holoenzyme. So apoenzyme is a protein part, non-protein part is a coenzyme. So when the non-protein mostly is tightly bound with the apoenzyme, known as the prosthetic group. You have a 2 marks question is what is the prosthetic group. So non-protein moiety tightly, that is covalently bound with the apoenzyme, is known as the prosthetic group. The coenzyme can be separated by dialysis from the enzyme, while prosthetic group cannot be. So coenzyme can be separated from the enzyme, but prosthetic group cannot be separated. See the types of enzymes. The main types of the enzymes: monomeric enzymes, oligomeric enzymes, multi-enzyme complex, and hybrid enzymes. See individually what are the monomeric enzymes. These monomeric enzymes are made up of single polypeptide. So monomeric enzymes are made up of single polypeptide. Example, ribonuclease and trypsin. Oligomeric, that is oligo, which possesses more than one polypeptide chain. So it contains more than one polypeptide chain. These oligomeric enzymes. Example, lactate dehydrogenase aspartate transcarbamylase. So another type of enzyme, multi-enzyme complexes. These multi-enzyme complexes processing a specific sites to catalyze the different reactions in a sequence. So these multi-enzyme complex possessing a specific sites to catalyze the different reactions in a sequence. The another type of enzyme, hybrid enzymes. These are possible to rearrange the genes and produce the fusion proteins. The importance of these hybrid enzymes is possible to rearrange the genes and produce fusion proteins. Example, gluconase and cellulose that can more efficiently hydrolyze. Now see the enzymes factors affecting the enzymes activity. So enzymes activity mainly depends upon some factors. So what are the factors affecting the enzymes activity? Number 1 is concentration of the enzyme. So the concentration in enzyme effect on the enzymes activity. Substrate concentration, the substrate concentration affect the enzymes activity. The effect of temperature, so the temperature effect on the enzymes activity. pH, so pH shows the effect on the enzymes activity. Product concentration, and next one is effect of activators. So effect of time and effect of light and radiations. These are all causes for the enzymes activity, maybe decrease or increase the enzymes activity. Now see the first one is concentration of the enzyme. So the concentration of the enzyme is increased, the velocity of the reaction proportionally increases. So if the enzyme concentration is increased, the velocity of the reaction proportionally increases. Example, HGOT, SGPT, lactate dehydrogenase and CPK, creatine phosphokinase. Next one is effect of substrate concentration. So generally enzymes have the many active sites. At the active site, the low substrate concentration, so if it is not occupied, this means the reaction rate is low. So when the active site is not occupied by the substrate, so this means that the reaction rate is low. When more substrate molecules are added, more enzyme substrate complex can be formed. So if the substrate is completely, all the substrate completely occupied by the active site, so more enzyme substrate complex can be formed. So as the more active sites and the rate of reaction is increased. So the more active sites present on this enzyme and the rate of reaction is increased. But eventually increasing the substrate concentration ordered further will have no effect. The active sites will be saturated, so no more enzyme substrate complex can be formed. If the active site is saturated with the substrate, so more enzyme substrate complex can be formed. No more enzyme substrate complex can be formed. Now see the effect of temperature on enzyme activity. Temperature gradually affects the active of enzyme T. If the temperature is increased by every 10 degrees Celsius, the rate of enzyme reaction is double. So actually every enzyme is having the optimum temperature, that is 40 to 60 degrees Celsius. Maximum enzyme activity occurs at the optimum temperature. Now see the effect of the pH. Most of the enzymes are having the optimum pH is 6 to 8. So which are influence the enzyme's activity in effect of pH. That is, hydrogen ions are influence the enzyme's activity by altering the ionic charges on the amino acids. So because of the enzymes are made up with the enzymes are proteins, all proteins are not enzymes, but enzymes are the proteins. These are made up with the amino acids. Hence the hydrogen ions influence the enzyme's activity by altering the ionic charges on the amino acids. If increase in the hydrogen ion concentration, so influence the enzyme's activity, considerably influence the enzyme's activity. So each enzyme has having the optimum pH at which velocity is maximum. For example, pepsin, so pH is 2, urease that is 7.0, pH is 7.0, salivary amylase pH is 6.8, alkaline phosphate pH is 9.9. So below and above this pH, the enzyme's activity is maybe lower or maybe extreme. Effect of product concentration. The accumulation of reactions products generally decrease the enzyme's velocity. So when the product is accumulated, decrease the enzyme's velocity. See here it is the substrate can bind with the active site of the enzyme. So form the enzyme substrate complex. This enzyme product complex can be remove the products from the active site. So the certain enzymes, the products combine with the active site of enzyme and form the loose complex and thus inhibit the enzyme's activity. Effect of activators. Enzymes require some inorganic metallic cations and some, here it is a anions also required for their activity. So cations and anions also required for the enzyme's activity. Here to see the examples for the cations: magnesium, manganese, zinc, cobalt, and here it is a copper, sodium, potassium, and etc. is the required for the enzyme's activity. So, and here it is a anions, that is chlorides, are required for the enzyme's activity. For example, amylase. Amylase is required the chloride ion for their activity. So two categories of enzymes require the metals for their activity. So they can be divided into metallo-activated enzymes and metallo-enzymes. Metal-activated enzymes and metallo-enzymes. The metal is not tightly, in metal-activated enzymes, metal is not tightly bound with the enzyme and can be exchanged easily with other ions, that is ATPase. So the ATPase required the magnesium or calcium. Enol is required the magnesium. So it is, so ATPase can be activated by the either magnesium or calcium. Enol is activated by the magnesium. So metallo-enzymes. These enzymes hold the metals rather than tightly. So in metal-activated enzymes, metals are cannot bind with the enzymes tightly. But in metallo-enzymes, these enzymes are hold the metals rather tightly, which are not readily exchanged. Example: alcohol dehydrogenase, carbonic anhydrase. Pyruvate oxidase is required the manganese. So that when manganese is available, pyruvate oxidase Here it is the activity is increased. Xanthine oxidase require the molybdenum and the cytochrome oxidase require the iron and copper. Effective time. So under ideal and optimum conditions, the time required for enzyme reactions is less. Enzyme reactions is less. Variations in the time, so the reactions are generally related to the alterations in pH and temperature. So the effect of light and the radiations in enzymes activity. When the enzyme is exposed to the ultraviolet, beta and gamma X-rays, they are inactivated certain enzymes due to the formation of peroxides. Example, UV rays inhibit the salivary amylase activity. So UV rays inhibit the salivary amylase activity. What is the active site? You have a question regarding this active site, you can get this is a 5 marks question. So the active site of an enzyme represents the small region at which the substrate bind and participate in the catalysis. So generally enzymes having the one small region, so at which substrate can bind and participate in the catalysis. See the properties of the active site. The existence of the active site is due to the tertiary structure of protein. So the existence of the active site mainly due to the tertiary structure of protein. If the protein is a tertiary site, then the enzyme having the active site. This active site is made up of amino acids. The number is 35, 52, 63, 63 and 101. So the active site is made up of 35 number of amino acids or 52 with the 53 number of amino acids, 62, 63 and 101. So you have a doubt. So we are having is only 20 amino acids. How the enzymes, this active site is made up with the 35 amino acids, 52 amino acids, 63 amino, 63 and 101. So because of these are repeated amino acids. So the out of 20, so these are commonly found amino acid active sites are serine, aspartate, histidine, cysteine, lysine, arginine, glutamine and tyrosine. These are the amino acids are repeatedly found in the active site of enzyme. Among these, the most important amino acid serine is the most frequently found in active site. See here it is a enzyme molecules containing the special pocket or cleft called the active site. See the cleft. This cleft region is very small on the enzyme at which substrate can bind. So form the enzyme, change the shapes. See here it is. And after formation of enzyme product complex, and these products leaving the active site of the enzyme. What is the active site? The area on the enzyme where the substrate or substrates are attached, it is called the active site. This is the active site. At this point, substrates are bind, form the enzyme product complex. Enzymes are usually very large protein and the active site is just a small region of the enzyme molecule. See here it is the enzyme molecule is large region and the active site is a small region on the enzyme. The active site is a flexible, not in rigid structure. See here it is a active site is a not a rigid, flexible. See here it is. After attaching the substrate, how they change is the how they are molded. See here it is the shape of the enzyme. The substrate can bind at the active site by the weak non-covalent bonds. The substrate bind at the active site by weak non-covalent bonds. The active site possesses substrate binding site and catalytic site. The active site possesses substrate binding site and catalytic site. Also known as the active site or catalytic binding site. See what are the enzyme specificity. The most important characteristics property of the active site is the specificity. Specificity is a characteristics property of the active site. Enzymes are highly specific in their action. These are 3 types. That is the stereospecificity, reaction specificity, substrate specificity. Stereospecificity or optical specificity, both are same. The compounds which have the same molecular formula but differ in their structural configuration known as the stereospecificity. So here it is the enzymes act only on one isomer and therefore exhibit the stereospecificity. Example, hexokinase. The hexokinase enzyme acts only dehexoses. For example, glucokinase acts on D-glucose. Amylase acts on only glycosidic linkages. The second one is reaction specificity. The same substrate can undergo the different types of reactions The each one is characterized by the separate enzymes. The same substrate can undergo the different types of reactions, but it is characterized by the separate enzymes. For example, an amino acid can undergo the transamination, oxidative deamination, decarboxylation reactions. The enzyme reaction specificity as well as the substrate specificity are determined by the structure and chemical properties of the protein moiety of the enzyme. So, how can we determine the substrate specificity or reaction specificity? This is determined by the structure and chemical properties of the protein moiety of that enzyme. See, here it is the reaction specificity. This is the same. Here it is. See, the same substrate can undergo the different types of reactions. So each reaction is catalyzed by the separate enzymes. So pyruvate is produced the malate. So the malate is obtained from the pyruvate. This reaction is catalyzed by the malic chain. So alanine is obtained from the pyruvate. This reaction is catalyzed by transaminases. So pyruvate produces the acetyl-CoA. That means the acetyl-CoA obtained from the pyruvate by the PDH. And here it is, the pyruvate produces the lactate by the lactate dehydrogenase. Here it is the acetyl-CoA obtained from the pyruvate, that is pyruvate dehydrogenase. So lactate obtained from the pyruvate by the lactate dehydrogenase. So, and here it is the oxaloacetate. Pyruvate produces the oxaloacetate, and this is reaction is catalyzed by the carboxylase. So that this is the same substrate can undergo the different type of reactions, and each one is catalyzed by the different enzymes. See here, different enzymes. Substrate specificity. But substrate specificity varies from enzyme to enzymes. It may be either absolute, relative, or broad specificity. So absolute substrate specificity. Certain enzymes act only on one substrate. For example, glucokinase. This glucokinase acts on only glucose to give the glucose 6-phosphate. And another example, urease. This urease cleaves the urea to ammonia and carbon dioxide. Another one is relative substrate specificity. Some enzymes act on structurally related substances, but absolutely substrate specificity, certain act only on one substrate. But here it is relative substrate specificity. Some enzymes act on structurally related substances. So this is in turn to maybe depend upon the specific group or a bond present. The action of trypsin is example for the group specificity. For example, here it is trypsin hydrolyzes the peptide linkages. Trypsin hydrolyzes the peptide linkages. Chymotrypsin cleaves the peptide bonds. Trypsin hydrolyzes the peptide linkages. Chymotrypsin cleaves the peptide bonds. The examples of bond specificity: glycosidase is acting of the glycosidic bonds of carbohydrates, and lipase is cleaving the ester bonds of lipids. Another specificity, that is broad specificity. Some enzymes act on closely related substrates. Here it is a relative substrate specificity is the act on structurally related substances. Broad specificity is on closely related substrates. So which is commonly known as a broad substrate specificity. Example, hexokinase acts on the glucose, fructose and mannose. Now see how to regulate the enzyme's activity. The regulation of the enzyme's activity occurs by the different stages. That is allosteric regulation, activation of latent enzymes, compartmentation of metabolic pathways, control of enzyme synthesis, enzymes degradation, and isomerases. These are the involved in the regulation of the enzyme's activities. Allosteric regulation and allosteric inhibition. In this, some of the enzymes possess additional sites known as allosteric sites. So some of the enzymes possess additional sites rather than the active site known as the allosteric sites. So such enzymes are known as the allosteric enzymes. So these allosteric sites are unique in place on the enzyme molecules. Now see the allosteric effectors. These allosteric effectors, certain substances referred to as the allosteric modulators. These are bind at the allosteric sites and regulate the enzyme's activity. So allosteric effectors can regulate the enzyme's activity. These enzymes activity is increased when the positive allosteric effector binds at the allosteric site known as the activator site. So if the enzyme's activity is increased when the positive allosteric effector bind at the allosteric site. If the positive allosteric effector can bind with the allosteric site, is known as the allosteric activator site. So hence the enzyme's activity is increased. If the negative allosteric effector can bind with the allosteric site, called the inhibitor site. So the enzyme's activity is inhibits. So based on the influences of the allosteric effector on Km and Dmax, so enzymes are regulated by allosteric mechanism. So they are divided into two classes, that is K class of allosteric enzymes and B class of allosteric enzymes. That is K means is maximum, here it is Vmax is maximum velocity. In K class, the effector changes the Km and not the Vmax. In K class of allosteric enzymes, so changes the Km and not the Vmax. In V classes, the effector alters the Vmax, not on the K. So the allosteric enzymes exist in two conformational states, that is T state and R state. But the T and R states are in equilibrium. See here it is. So allosteric inhibitors favor the T state. So allosteric inhibitors favor the T state and activators and substrates favor for the R state. The substrate can bind only with the R form of the enzyme. The substrate can bind with the R form of the enzyme. The concentration of the enzyme molecule in the R state is increased. So when the substrate is bind with the R form of the enzyme, so ultimately enzyme molecule in the R state is increased. The concentration of the enzyme molecule in the R state is increased. If the substrate influences the substrate binding through the allosteric mechanism known as the homotrophic effect. Known as the homotrophic effect. If the substrate influences the substrate binding through the allosteric mechanism known as the homotrophic effector. But this effect is always positive. When the allosteric modulator effector the binding of substrate to the enzyme known as the heterotrophic effector. And the allosteric modulator affects the binding of substrate to the enzyme known as the heterotrophic effect. These heterotrophic interactions are either positive or negative. But here it is a homotrophic effector is always is positive, but the heterotrophic interactions are either positive or negative. Now see the feedback regulation. The feedback regulation inhibition or end product inhibition. The feedback regulation or feedback inhibition or end product inhibition are same. So feedback inhibition or end product inhibition as a specialized type of allosteric inhibition. These are necessary to control the metabolic pathways. So feedback inhibition or end product inhibition or feedback regulation is necessary to control the metabolic pathways. The process inhibiting the first step by the final product in the feedback regulation. See here it is. The final product is inhibited the first step. See here it is. So the first step is by the final product. See here it is. The first step is inhibited by the final product. See here it is. What are the coenzymes? You have a question 5 marks is coenzymes. So the non-protein and organic low molecular weight and dialysable substances associated with the enzyme function is known as coenzyme. So coenzyme. Coenzyme is a non-protein and organic and low shows the low molecular weight and easily dialysable substance. These are associated with the enzyme function is known as coenzyme. So many enzymes require the certain non-protein small additional factors collectively referred to as cofactors. These cofactors are required for the enzyme catalysis. The cofactors are required for the catalysis. So the cofactor is a non-protein and it is organic and shows the low molecular weight and easily dialysable substance. The cofactors may be organic or inorganic in nature. So cofactors are non-protein entities. They must be bind with a particular enzyme before a reaction occurs. Some common activators are metabolic, here it is, and non-metallic. These are the activators are essential for the metallic and non-metallic are essential for the reaction. So metal plays the variety of roles, that is such as they help in either maintaining or producing the active structural conformation of the enzyme, formation of enzyme substrate complex, making structural changes in substance molecule, accept or donate the electrons. Some examples for the metalloenzymes. Copper. So superoxide dismutase, cytochrome oxidase, tyrosinase, these are all required, depends upon the copper. So copper is a metal. So the activation of superoxide dismutase, cytochrome oxidase, tyrosinase, and these are required for the copper. So these are the copper dependent enzymes. The lipase and the lecithinase, these are the calcium dependent enzymes. So when the calcium, so without the calcium, the lipase and the lecithinase enzymes activity is less. So catalase, xanthine oxidase, and peroxidase, these are the enzymes, iron dependent enzymes. So manganese. So hexokinase, enolase, phosphoglutamate, glycerotransferase, these are the enzymes, manganese dependent enzymes. So when the manganese is available, so hexokinase, enolase, phosphoglutamate, glycerotransferase active is more. So magnesium. So hexokinase, enolase, and glucose 6-phosphate phosphofructokinase, these are all enzymes are magnesium dependent enzymes. Xanthine oxidase is a molecular dependent enzyme. Zinc. Carbonic anhydrase, alcohol dehydrogenase, carboxypeptidase, alkaline phosphatase. These are the zinc dependent enzymes. For example, ceruloplasmin is a major copper carrying protein in the blood. And in addition, it is a play the role in the iron metabolism. So the ceruloplasmin is the enzyme. Synthesis takes place in the liver and containing the 6 atoms of the copper. So ceruloplasmin contains the 6 atoms of the copper. And also it is involved in the carries of the more than 95% of the total copper in healthy human plasma. So oxidation of iron, ferrous iron into ferric form. So the oxidation of the ferrous form of iron to ferric form of iron, which can carry the iron only in the ferric state. The deficiency of the ceruloplasmin leads to the Wilson's disease, Menkes disease, and also leads to the low levels of copper. So what is the Wilson's disease? So already we discussed in previous class. The Wilson disease is genetic disorder. You have is a 5 marks question in which copper binds up with the body, and symptoms are related to the brain and liver. And liver-related symptoms are include vomiting, weakness, and a fluid build up in the abdomen, swelling of legs, and yellowish skin and itchiness. The brain-related Wilson's symptoms are include tremors, muscle stiffness, and trouble to speaking. The Menkes disease is mainly due to the deficiency of the ceruloplasmin. It is an X-linked recessive disorder that affects the copper levels in the body. The Menkes disease typically begins during the infancy, that is mainly affecting about the 1 in 1 lakh to 2,50,000 newborns. So what is the holoenzyme? The functional enzyme is referred to as the holoenzyme. So holoenzyme is made up of protein part, and this protein part is known as a epoenzyme, and non-protein part known as a coenzyme. So the holoenzyme is made up of protein part and non-protein part. The protein part is known as a epoenzyme, the non-protein part is known as a coenzyme. So holoenzyme all together comes together the content of the epoenzyme, and here it is non-protein part coenzyme. So when the non-protein moiety is tightly bound with the enzyme, which is not easily separated by the dialysis, the term is prosthetic group. So when you call this a prosthetic group, when the non-protein moiety, that is a coenzyme. So the coenzyme is tightly bound to the enzyme, which is not easily separated by the dialysis. Hence it is known as a prosthetic group. So coenzyme serve as a second substrate for the enzymatic reactions. Here it is the epoenzyme. This is the protein part, inactive stage, and cofactor, non-protein part is the activator. Come together form the holoenzyme. So holoenzyme is active in nature. So now see the nucleotide enzymes. Some enzymes are, some of the coenzymes possess the nitrogen bases, sugar, and phosphate. Such coenzymes are called the nucleotides. Example: NAD+, FMN, FKD, and coenzyme A. So coenzymes do not decide the enzyme specificity. Don't forget, coenzymes do not decide the enzyme specificity. The specificity of the enzyme is mostly depends upon the epoenzyme and not on the coenzyme. The specificity mainly depends upon the enzyme, the coenzyme, not on the coenzyme. So hence the coenzyme do not decide the enzyme specificity. So enzyme specificity only depends upon the epoenzyme. So this is it. Thank you.